issue is peer review. This is quite a debated topic at the minute as well. Again, the standard is double-blind peer review is the best way of doing it. And peer review is a key part of publishing. It aims to ensure unbiased standards. But there is debate. One of the debates is about blind review versus open review. If I'm willing to stand over my opinions, it should make no difference to me whether you know that I've torn your paper apart or not. And if you're willing to stand over your science and I'm willing to be unbiased, it shouldn't matter if I know who you are. But it is a debate, and a number of journals are actively moving towards open review, and strangely enough or not, it's linked to the open source movement. It is about openness. But there's also an issue about standards in review. Some of you will have come across this story of John Bohannon. John Bohannon is a science journalist. He wrote a makey-uppy paper about what cancer cells did when they were in a test tube with different substances. He submitted it to 304 open access journals. There were basic flaws in the science that any postgraduate student would have identified. It was accepted for publication by 157 journals. Now, this debate this story gets very confusing, because on one hand, you could look at it as, ooh, those open access journals, they just want to make money. So they'll take anything. And I do warn you, there are journals out there that have been shown to have incredibly poor standards and review standards, and you do have to be aware of it. But I think the bigger issue is, if it's gone for review, these issues should have been highlighted. And what we don't know is, in the 157 journals who accepted the paper, was it highlighted and dismissed, or was it not highlighted? So there's issues there about the standards of reviewers. There's issues there about the way in which reviews are used. But it highlights that this idea of peer review being the gold standard is possibly gold plating with a bit of tin underneath. We don't know. And it's a very current issue.
I was going to say, when I had to first review a paper, I asked for advice from my supervisor, and I thought it was really helpful advice that they said, just remember, all you really need to do is uphold the scientific method. Whereas I feel like, and obviously I feel this way, when I get my reviews back, sometimes it's their opinions that you're getting, and sometimes those reviewers may not be as up to date on the
science,
on what research methods are used for, or what you're trying to achieve with it, and that can be really frustrating.
I remember one of the early papers I wrote after my PhD, it was on grief in intellectual disability, and I sent it to a very, very well-known journal who I'm not going to name, and I got a review. Well, it was rejected, which is fine. It's fine, really. It's actually fine. And they said, well, realistically, people with an intellectual disability can't experience grief, so the paper's groundless. And I went, not going back to that journal, don't care what else they've said. There is an issue. Now, as an editor of a journal, I have sympathies though, because I have multiple papers that get delayed for months by me having to invite 10, 15, 20 possible reviewers, and people not doing it, not busy, not interested, not willing, not confident. So it is, the peer review issue is a major issue in this area, because we've represented it as being gold standard. It has got feet of clay, but it's a very challenging thing to do.